Hey, Sean, how you doing?
I'm all right, John. How are you?
Good, good. So the circumstances might be different. I'm just wondering what concerns you might have with the team's troubles with, winning consistently in the clutch, and have to relive these kind of losses kind of over and over again over the years.
Well, it's tough. The NFL is built for parity and for close games, and we've been in some close games this year. In particular, every one of our losses, as you well know, John, and so we have an opportunity to close games out or pull away. Those are the things that we're studying as of this morning, and again, we'll study them tonight as a staff and making sure that we continue to close that gap moving forward for our team.
I understand that. Is there a concern that, I mean, 0-6 in overtime in your past six overtime games, and just it's out there. The fans are kind of like getting a little bit antsy over previous losses, be it what happened against Denver this year, what happened, and I don't need to bring them up, but it's just those games that in which this team just comes this fall that falls short, be it at the last minute or overtime.
No, it's understandable. I mean that they're getting antsy, I guess, as you said, and listen, no one's more frustrated than I am. I can promise you that we're working hard at figuring it out. We've played well, I would say, defensively in the majority of our games this year, and we get into these one score situations down the end of the game, and we got to find a way to close it out. And there's a lot of things that go into that when you're trying to close a game out, right? So those are the things that we're studying moving forward. And then offensively, we've got to not be in those one score games. We got to pull ahead or play better earlier in the game. And all those overtime situations are a little bit different. Early in the year, we're up at the Jets. I think we have a turnover, and then they score to pull ahead, and then we end up scoring to tie it up. We go to OT, have a chance to go to take the ball in overtime. We go 3-and-out, punt the ball away, and it's returned for a touchdown, game-winning touchdown. So all of them are different. They're all different situations, but again, it's what we're trying to do to get solved and move forward as a football team.
I appreciate that, Sean. And one last thing, the Shaq Lawson, the video showing him shoving a fan, and understand that perhaps the Bills had asked security to have that fan removed. Can you provide any insight that you might have on that situation?
Yeah, obviously a very unfortunate situation. I was brought into the loop on it this morning about the incident that took place during the game, and it's unfortunate that would go on during a game in particular. And what I'm aware of is that people were asked to have the fan removed, and nothing was done. So at the end of the day, that's not for us to concern ourselves with at this point, and it's just unfortunate overall that would be taking place during a game.
Thank you, Sean, and enjoy the bye week as much as you can.
All right, thanks, John.
Hi, Sean. I was going to ask you about the Shaq Lawson situation, but since you just addressed that, I would just follow John's line of questioning. When we talked to you after the game yesterday, I think the line you used was hindsight's 2020 with regard to, I think you were talking about the kneel at the end with 20 seconds left or whatever. As you've looked at this and kind of assessed it, and maybe you said you're studying the situation, the close games, some of the reasons behind it. Have you identified any trends? Every situation's obviously different, but have you come to any conclusions about trends that you can correct? And maybe would you make a different decision at any point looking back on yesterday?
Well, I think it's yesterday's decision with 20 seconds left and only one timeout. We had a similar situation in Detroit last season, three timeouts in 22, 23 seconds. And with those timeouts and also in a static dome environment where I felt like we could, it was good for throwing the football last night, a little bit different situation with the rain and only one timeout. And just felt like, hey, I used that timeout to try and ice the kicker, as they say. And then obviously the guy hits a 59-yarder. So we were down to one timeout, and just felt like in that situation that you're weighing risk and reward at that point, right? And so knowing that they had a field goal kicker, that if something dicey happens here with trying to go win the game, he's in position right away to win the game again in that situation. So anyway, believe me, I'm rolling that back a million times in my mind, and Hopefully we're in that situation again, but full confidence in the offense. Just felt like at that point in time with the rain the way it was, and as I mentioned, their pass rush being as good as they are, felt like it was the best thing for us.
All right, Sean, thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Sean, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. You sort of touched on it. Every game, plays out a bit differently, but, 3 times this season, the defense has taken the field with, I think, less than 2 minutes to go. I'm thinking New England, Denver, and last night, with a chance to win the game if they can get off the field. As the play caller for that side of the ball this season, how much does it stick with you that in those situations, they haven't been able to get the job done?
Yeah, no, it's something that we take very seriously, that I take very seriously. And I think, like I said, the defense has played, for the majority of our season well enough to win. And in those situations, the game has changed quickly. If you think back to the New England game, they hit a screen that went for a chunk, let's just call it a chunk, and it changed the complexion of the 2-minute right away. The first play of the Denver game, or Denver 2-minute, went for a chunk on a check down, which shouldn't happen. And then again, the complexion of the 2-minute changed. So last night, again, certain things that, whether it's call, whether it's execution, whether it's, we had a chance to make a couple of plays. We were this close to making a couple of them. AJ had one, and then T-Dot had one with the catch fumble potential there. And, we're this close. We just got to keep working and figure this out.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about a couple of guys in particular. Puna has not been able to get a roster or a jersey on game day here too much lately at all. And then you guys brought in Leonard Fournette to the practice squad. It seemed like maybe there was a plan for him. He has not been elevated. What has gone into the decisions with those two guys when it comes to game day?
Yeah, Puna has been here with us, as you know, since the spring. Puna's had opportunities to play, and so we evaluate that, and we evaluate weekly who gets the jerseys for game day. In Leonard's case, there's a player that has come in and done a nice job. Obviously, has a resume and a history around the league, and so we evaluate our players along with Leonard, and again in this case as well, who gets a jersey for game day, and we take it one week at a time.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Have a good bye week.
All right, you too.
Hey, Sean. Obviously tough one in the second half on the back end. How would you evaluate, Micah and Jordan? Obviously, one storyline over the, going into the season was just them getting older and that part of the thing. How would you evaluate them last night and just overall their level of play this season?
Well, I just feel like they're two guys that I have a tremendous amount of confidence and trust in. They've been here for better part of 7 years now, and they're veteran players, right? That have seen a lot of football, and I trust those guys to make the plays that they've made over the years, and I'll trust them going forward. So that's my evaluation of their play, and I have a lot of confidence in those two.
And you touched on it when John was asking you earlier about the decisions around kneeling. Makes a lot of sense. I think you touched on it last night about the overtime decision on 4th and 6, wanted it a little bit shorter. But when you have Josh Allen, I'm just curious, when you have Josh Allen playing that way in that game, does it go through your mind at all? And maybe do you kind of like think about it even more in the 24 hours after, like, man, maybe I should just put the ball in his hands and just see?
Of course you do. And that's when, as I mentioned after the game, you're saying, hey, 4th and 2, maybe even 4th and 3, we're going for it right here. And that to me is putting the ball in Josh Allen's hands. And when you're 4th and 6, I mean, that gets to be you're playing the percentages even on paper. And then you're saying, hey, you're weighing out cost benefit of, hey, we get points right here, maybe we can stop them. Obviously that didn't work out. Give them some credit. They're a good offense as well, so with good players. So, but yeah, I mean, you look at putting the ball in the hands of your best player, and that's Josh Allen. And unfortunately, we didn't execute on 3rd down when we had the opportunity to, and that left us with the 4th down decision.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Hi, Sean. Yeah, you mentioned the Eagles' defensive front. I mean, their pressure rate is well documented. Just what did you think about the way the offensive line held up in protection against them, and then were able to run the ball on them for that last touchdown drive at the end of regulation.
Yeah, I thought that was good to see. I thought that was well executed by our offensive line, our backs, tight ends, everyone that was blocking, right? And I think that was important for us to be able to come out there and do that on that last drive. And they're a formidable group, that front that they have. They have a number of first and second round draft picks. That's being there myself, I know what they believe in philosophically. They load up front, they load up at the corner position, they load up on both sides of the ball up front, and so that's they got a good group up there that rush the passer well.
And there's just the only one sack. I mean, obviously a lot of people, and Josh does a lot to help the sack situation, but just to throw for that many yards on them, just what did you think of the overall pass protection?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought there were some moments where they saved Josh, and some moments where Josh saved them as well. So it works hand in hand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon, Coach McDermott. George Radney, Challenger Community News. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Question, I just noticed in the overtime there on the winning drive, earlier, the gap integrity. I was wondering why that didn't continue with that on that last drive, because you guys were stopping them, wasn't allowing the cutback lanes or anything for Jalen Hurts to get loose there. I was wondering, why did you change the defense on that last drive?
The defense wasn't changed, George. Defense wasn't changed. So
or scheme.
It wasn't schemed differently. It wasn't schemed differently.
Okay, what would you say made the difference on that winning touchdown run, where he was able to just come around?
Are you talking about the drive? Are you talking about the drive or the play?
The play.
The play, yeah, that was a call. That was a zero. That was a max blitz trying to force the issue to make a play, and they had the right play on for that play call. So that's on me. But beyond that, when you're talking about the drive, as your question was, we didn't change schematically. Jalen Hurts likes to take over the game in the second half of games, critical situations, and he's tough to handle like Josh is. And so, I thought we could have done a better job at times of staying in our rush lanes and making sure we're coordinated with our rushes. And we've got a guy high that or at the level that needs to be at the level. And then we've got the quarterback trap built underneath of that. And like we did in the first half, I thought we rushed well in the first half, but could have rushed better in the second half in a more coordinated fashion.
Yes, because I know Jason Kelsey, I got a chance to interview him over in the Eagles locker room. He said they were very uncomfortable with your defensive scheme in that first half. He said it took them a while to really get somewhat comfortable in that second half. And they talked about that. Your scheming was excellent, game planning for this game. And last question, on that touchdown pass in the back of the end zone where you looked like you had it almost reminded me of the Kyler Murray play in Arizona, where he threw it up and the receiver for the Eagles caught it in the very back of the end zone. How can that happen? How can that guy get behind the safeties and they're not able to?
It shouldn't happen. We're better than that. And we've got a guy that I know has made that play a million times in terms of making plays on the ball overall. I know everyone wants to talk about the Kyler Murray play, and I see the resemblance. Listen, it's 3rd and 15, and the quarterback got out to our right, which he shouldn't have got out, number one, and then he made a throw, and their player got behind us, which should never happen. We should keep everything in front of us in that situation, and at a minimum, knock the ball down. And their player made the play, and I believe Micah Hyde will make that play going forward for us.
All right, thank you, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean, Josh Reed here. Thanks for taking some time for us this afternoon. George owes me a coffee because he stole a little bit of my question here. But I guess along the lines of that touchdown run by Jalen Hurts, one of the Eagles players mentioned that they saw the look and immediately knew that they were going to hit a home run on it. And you touched on it a little bit. I was hoping maybe you could expand. Were you in a position when you're making that zero blitz call that you kind of felt defensively you needed to hit the home run, or they were eventually just going to stick it in the end zone anyways?
Yeah, you get to a point where you're saying, all right, I gotta do something here to really ratchet this thing up. We gotta send as many people at him as we can. They do like to run the ball down there the closer they get to the goal line, as you saw earlier in the game as well. And you just got to do something to try and make something happen in that case, in that situation. And that's what I did. And obviously it didn't work out. But you try your best to do something to manufacture a play and get something stopped there, so you can maybe create a second down and a longer situation and try and, force a field goal at best in that situation.
Do you meet with the guys like today before sending them off, or is it just yet last night was kind of it and they kind of break away from everything?
No, we met today.
What was the message? I guess. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What was the message that you wanted them to take away as they have a little downtime here?
The entire team, or are you talking about the defense?
Yeah, the entire team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're 6-6, and we know we'd rather have a better record than what we have, but we are who we are. And the encouraging thing is everything, all the goals that we set for ourselves are still within our reach. Get away, get a break, kind of it's a later bye than any of all of us are used to, and kind of get away from football a little bit, but take care of yourself so when you come back, you're ready to roll. And, obviously we have some adjustments we need to make. When you look at overall with our the games we have lost, they've been either turnover based or one score based on the defensive side getting off the field. And then obviously special teams is baked into all that. So there's a lot of positives. We went on the road and in a tough environment and played extremely well, came up short. But we're close, and a couple plays here, a couple plays there. That game may not even be as close as it was, and the kicker makes a 59-yarder. So at the end of the day, they won the game, and we have to learn from it and make the adjustments we have to make, and that's what we'll do this week.
All right, thank you so much, Sean. Enjoy the bye week. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Josh.
Coach, good afternoon. Mookie Hawkins, Waffle Sports Cincinnati. How you doing?
I'm all right, Mookie. How are you?
I'm good. And first and foremost, Coach, I want to say, that suit you had on, getting on that plane, that was, I'm quite sure you got Stephon Diggs' approval on that. But overall, how was your trip heading back home, just meeting with family, if I may start with that?
Yeah, I mean, I was able to see my parents and everything, which is nice, and my brother's family. So I'm grateful for that.
Absolutely, man. You guys played well, despite the penalties in that first half. What were your thoughts on where you thought your team was and where it needed to be going into the second half?
Well, I thought we started off extremely well on defense. I mean, 2 short fields, garnered 14 points for the offense, and our team, we led 17. It was 17-7 at half, right? So in the second half, I thought the offense came out and had a good drive, and we did some good things there. And then defensively, we went 3 and out to start the second half, and then after that, they started to get the run game going. The Eagles did, and we were out of our gaps at times up front, and needing to execute better. And so then it became a 2-dimensional game, and we were having to deal with the run and the pass as well as the quarterback scrambling. And so it became harder to defend in the second half. And that's, give them some credit here as well. They've got some players on their side of the ball. So, but overall, I thought, we gave ourselves a chance. There's certainly things we can improve on, and you saw that down the stretch, and that's what we're working on this week.
Absolutely, man, and it was definitely a dogfight. But on like that 3rd and 4th play, it looked like you guys were in lock to the field side, zone to the boundary, and you talk about it all the time about just executing. It's just as simple as that, right, Coach? And did Douglas stay a little bit too attached to Brown there to cover short outside, or did Dodson alignment didn't allow him to carry over in the flats deep enough there?
Which play are you referencing?
It was the 3rd and 4th play with Devontae Smith, converted the 3rd and 4 on the 6-yard hitch.
In the last drive on the hitch.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So earlier in the game, we were in man-to-man there to tighten it up, almost the same location on the field. They were in 10 personnel, and the quarterback broke contain and ran with it. And we had a spy sit in the middle of the defense. And so the next time around, tried to change it up and go zone, and he sat down and he hit Smith there. So that's when I went back, but tried to change something up there so we would have more zone eyes on him, and then he hit the pass. So those are ones that you roll back over and over again. That's when I went back.
Yes, sir. I'm already knowing, but Coach, how valuable is this bye week?
I'm sorry.
How valuable is this bye week? This week?
Well, it's good. I mean, it comes at a time where you don't like going on a bye on a loss. Having said that, it's been our bye is as late as it's ever been in my career in the NFL, and so I think it's needed. Guys can get away a little bit, maybe break free of the snow that's outside of our windows here, and I think the coaches can get a little bit of rest as well and come back fresh for next week.
Absolutely, Coach. We know that you are immaculate coming off a bye, so have a good time. Enjoy it.
All right, thanks.
Hey, Sean, I was curious. I know you might not want to talk about the officiating too much, but when you watched the game back, did anything stand out to you? Do you have a conversation with the league this week? Anything further on the officiating after watching the game?
No comment on the officiating.
And then I was curious, not having Deontay up yesterday and going with Andy Isabella instead, what went into that decision? Is there anything, you want to see from Andy, or what particular led to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to see, I think we've seen Deontay up through the better part of the season to this point. Wanted to see something, what it looked like with Andy, right? And whether it was maybe in the return game, maybe as a little bit of a receiver in that role as well. And just trying to make sure we're maximizing our potential as an offense.
Did you think he did, I know he didn't play a ton on offense, but what he was out there for in the return game, did you think it was effective?
He did all right. Yeah, I mean, he didn't have a big role, I should say. And the receivers, a lot of the starters, kind of the primary guys, played the bulk of the load of the snaps yesterday. So it's just, I like Andy brings us some energy, right? He brings us energy, he brings us juice, good body language. And so, just wanted to see what it looked like, and we'll take it on a weekly basis from here on out.
And then I was curious, from an injury perspective, I know Steph went down, came back up and went back in the game, but any injuries coming out of the game? I know bye helps, but anything?
Yeah, the bye week helps. No, again, Taylor Rapp still, was, dealing with it, didn't play with the neck, and then Dane in the concussion protocol. So, everyone else finished the game, and Dawson Knox, we'll see what happens coming off the bye with his return.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, AJ Feldman here in Rochester. You talk about not wanting to go into the bye on a loss. So, unfortunately, you've had some experience with that. The Arizona game with the Hail Mary, and the Titans game on Monday night, losing at the last second. You come off of both of those bye weeks with wins. After the Cardinals, you roll off 6 in a row. What can you maybe take from those experiences and getting the team in the right mindset as they leave for the bye, and then coming back off of it and coming back strong?
Well, I think it gives you a chance to reset more than anything, AJ, and we've been able to do that effectively here over the course of our career here in Buffalo, and I expect the same going forward. So that's some of the challenges and the adjustments we need to make, and the gaps we have to close, or some of the things we're focusing in on, so that we can close that gap. Whether it be the turnovers or closing out games. I think those are important things that we continue to find answers to over the bye week here.
And then you talk about Dane and Taylor. Obviously, their injuries aren't, black and white. Do you have any projection as to whether or not they'll be able to practice or play when you come back from the bye?
Don't know. We'll see after the bye. Dane is still going through the protocol, and Taylor's still, dealing with the neck there, and hopefully time and a little bit of rest helps both of those.
All right. Thanks for your time, Sean. Enjoy the bye.
Hey, Sean, you had mentioned last night being encouraged by the direction of the offense over the last 2 weeks. And a lot of that was kind of, you spoke about Josh specifically, but I was wondering, what else on the offense have you seen these last 2 weeks that you think this team can keep building on?
Well, I just think we're moving the ball better than we were before, right? And a little bit more consistently than we were before. I think the defensive takeaways have helped, right? But that's when we talk about playing team ball. And I think that's important, though. We've been able to just move the ball beyond midfield, and then where we've still seemed to find we stub our toe a little bit is around that fringe area, that high red zone, where we have a chance for points. Yesterday we missed a couple of those field goals, and our drive stalled out yesterday due to penalties as well. So we've got to continue to find our way through that high red zone fringe area, then down into into where we're getting points. And when we have gotten into the low red zone, I'll say we've been very effective, but it's more of that upper fringe area that's given us some trouble.